Hey guys, I just want to let you guys know about two things really quick. Number one, I know that the donning started this week. I figured you guys probably wanted to see the dungeon stuff first, so that's what we're going to cover today. But my next video will be donning related, so stay tuned for that. And number two, we did a 2-hour live stream this morning here on YouTube. The Bungie Foundation had placed me for a 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. block, and we were able to raise over $1,000 in less than 2 hours, which is absolutely insane. We have raised a total of $2,700. So thank you so much to everyone that has donated, and you can still donate until the end of the year. The first link in the description to get your rewards and everything, and I really do appreciate it. I want to hit 5,000 before the end of the year, so if you have it and you want to, definitely feel free to. But without further ado, enjoy the video. Happy dawning, everybody. Today might not be a dawning video, but hot damn, it must be a dawning miracle because the API is now back up after being down this weekend, and the dungeon weapon perks are now visible for all to see. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Spire of the Watcher dungeon weapons, going over how to get them, and what their best perks are for PvE here in Destiny 2. Ladies and gentlemen, if that subscribe button hasn't already been pressed yet, I beg of thee to do so, as I got tons more videos coming your way in the future despite being sick. But without further ado, let's jump into this. Kicking things off, let's first talk about how you're going to get your hands on these weapons. If it wasn't obvious enough, all weapons mentioned in today's video will be coming from the Spire of the Watcher dungeon, which you can gain access to via the Witch Queen Deluxe Edition or the Dungeon Key Pack. You can access the dungeon via Savathun's Throne World, and upon entering, this is what you need to know. The first loot encounter will drop you the Long Arm Scout Rifle, the Terminus Horizon Machine Gun, and the Seraph Carbine. The second encounter will drop you either the Terminus Horizon again or the Seraph Revolver, with the final encounter dropping all previous weapons on top of the WILDERFLIGHT GL and the Liminal Vigil sidearm. This graphic comes from blueberries.gg, by the way, so shout out to them for their excellent work. Now, once you get these weapons, you may notice the new origin trait called Tech's Balanced Stock. This perk states that damaging targets while firing from the hip will increase handling, increase reload speed, and your movement speed when ADS. After testing this out in a lost sector, it seems you need to hit 4 shots from the hip within a relatively short time frame, and you'll be given the buff. It's fairly noticeable for the reload speed as well, so if you got a drop where you wanted extra reload speed but didn't get it, you can always fall back on this origin trait. Now that you know how to farm these weapons, plus what the origin trait does, let's jump into their best perks and my general review for each weapon. First up, I want to talk about by far my favorite gun on the list, and this one I'm most excited to farm, and that is the Long Arm Scout Rifle. This weapon makes its debut as the first ever 120 RPM legendary scout rifle, and if you've been watching the gameplay, you may have noticed that it shares some shocking resemblance to an exotic we all know and love. That's right, people, Long Arm is the Eyas Luna to DMT's Hawkmoon. It's a legendary variant of an exotic weapon, and I really wish we saw this more. This gun feels phenomenal to use, and once you see the perks, you're going to be even more excited. In the first column here, we have Rapid Hit, Wellspring, and Subsistence, with the final column rolling Adrenaline Junkie, Dragonfly, Redirection, and Explosive Payload. Y'all already know your boy is going to be going for that Wellspring payload roll, and I highly suggest that you do the same. Abilities have been getting stronger and stronger as time goes on, so Wellspring in that first column is an S tier pick, with Payload being my damage option here, just for a consistent flat damage buff, but you just as easily could swap that out for Adrenaline if you so choose. Subsistence and Dragonfly would also be a really good combo due to their synergy, so keep that in mind as well. Long Arm is by far my favorite Arc Scout in the game, and I'll be farming this thing relentlessly on my live streams over the course of this month, so stay tuned for those and come boss farm with me if you ever got the time. I stream here on YouTube. Now moving on, let's talk about my next favorite weapon of the video here. We have the Terminus Horizon Arc Machine Gun. High impact frames remain my favorite archetype of machine gun in the game for their sheer ability to pack so much of a punch while also conserving ammo very consistently. Terminus Horizon, unlike other high impacts however, will pack nearly double the punch with nearly double the ammo economy, so let's talk about it. Taking a look at the perks here in the first column, we got Dragonfly, triple tap, rapid hit, and demo, with the second having Volt Shot, Adrenaline Junkie, Wellspring, and Target Lock. There are so many good rolls here that it's almost impossible to go wrong. Firstly, let's talk about what I was hinting at earlier, triple tap and target lock. If you're wanting to output the most DPS possible while also conserving tons of ammo and having high sustain damage, this is the roll that you're going to want. Aside from that one, we also have Demolitionist Wellspring if you're wanting to cause as much chaos as possible via your abilities, and we also have Demolitionist Adrenaline if you want to split that chaos between your grenade and the gun itself. Lastly, we have a pure elemental fiesta if you combine Dragonfly and Volt Shot, although I'm unsure about Volt Shot's effectiveness because reloading this machine gun is a nightmare, so I would probably skip out on that. If you're looking for a weapon that has really good ad clear that isn't Thunderlord and is still legendary, then Fixed Odds is still going to be your best bet there because of Enhanced Incandescent. That aside, the Terminus Horizon has a plethora of fun perks that nearly every drop you get, you'll find something that you like about it, no problem. Now up next, you guys are going to hear something from me that you don't hear often, but we gotta sing some praises to this sidearm. Here we have the Liminal Vigil Aggressive Frame Stasis Sidearm. That is a lot to say, and by God, do I love this thing. Just like the LMG before, we have some really fun perk combinations on this weapon, so let's hop right into it. First up, for what I believe is the first time ever, we have Headstone rolling in the first column of a stasis weapon. Absolutely huge. We also have Threat Detector and Pugilist to finish out the column, with the second one featuring Kill Clip, Swash, Desperado, and Surrounded. Absolute crazy combos here. We have Headstone Kill Clip or Desperado, we have Pugilist Swash, Threat Detector Surrounded, just a ton to love here, and if you're a stasis enthusiast like myself, then this weapon is going to be a must-have to pair with your builds. P-Spawn 2? Never heard of it. Liminal Vigil is the king of legendary sidearms in PvE, without a doubt. Now moving on, you may have thought Long Arm was the only new archetype to be featured in the video, and if you did, then you were wrong, because WILDERFLIGHT makes its appearance on the scene, and with it is a new GL archetype called Double Fire, which allows it to shoot twice at a time. I figured that the archetype would be a little bit better named, but Double Fire it is. For those of us that are Blinding Nade enjoyers, this means we can rock Blinding Nades and pretty much negate the Blinding Nade nerf a while back when running this GL. The damage is pretty damn good, and when I tested it compared to a lightweight GL that only shoots once, both of them had Spike and Vorpal, and the WILDERFLIGHT does just about 27% more damage, which is pretty nutty to just have intrinsically. Now taking a look at the perks, here we have in the first column Auto-Loading, Feeding Frenzy, Danger Zone, Unrelenting, and Demo, with the second having Adrenaline, Frenzy, Vorpal, and Pugilist. Whether you plan on going the offensive or defensive route on this gun, it seems to have you covered no matter what. I'll probably end up going Blinding, Auto-Loading, and either Lead from Gold or Disruption Break, with Disruption being a perk I'd only recommend for GM runs. Now, just because I love you guys, I saved the most boring for last, because Bungie also reissued two non-sunset weapons with this dungeon, those being the Seraph Carbine and the Seraph Revolver. These weapons have been around for years, so I won't spend too much time on them. Just know that the Revolver got worse with its reissue, while the Carbine got better. The Revolver had time payload removed from the second column, making its new best roll, well, I'll let you decide. I wouldn't touch this weapon with a 12-foot pole because unlike Posterity, where the perks make the weapon being a 180 just not matter anymore, the Seraph Revolver's perks are just so awful that I can't imagine anybody running this at any point ever. Now the Carbine on the other hand did get a really nice perk refresh, and it might be worth getting a new role in this thing for GM content given what it gets. That of course would be the combo of Reconstruction or Fourth Times with Target Lock, allowing you to just output crazy damage on things like champions. Other than that, we got Pugilist in the first column, which is cool, with Frenzy in the second. Aside from that though, both Seraph weapons are fairly boring, with the Carbine being the only one I'd say is maybe worth getting a good perk roll on. With that said though, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed the content, as I've been fairly busy ever since this morning, but when I saw the perks become available with the API update at noon, I just knew I had to get this video out for you all. But yeah guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I want to give some special thanks to not only those that watched all the way through to the end, but also to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. For Patreon, shout out to Admis, Vile, John, Noel, Serenity, and Boomernoob in Tier 2, as well as Austin, Cinco, and Gloomia in Tier 3, as well as my Tier 2 YouTube members, Billy, Bluesman, Clear, Brian, Angel, Ben McClellan, Hank the Tank, Mayhem Gaming Peak, and Serenity once more. With that all said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.